I thought this was really fascinating. I liked that it took like a classic kind of like mob movie and told the story in like a really, not completely non-linear, but you started off obviously with one version of the story where he is just a friend, and he does go and like see somebody get killed, goes to the party, wakes up the next morning, like all of this stuff. And then I like that it kind of gave you bits and pieces, and then once you had enough information to understand the full context of the story, it moved forward, and then that's when you got the rest of the story kind of told in a traditional like linear sense, which I thought was really interesting. And again, like just a lot of flashbacks kind of jumping back and forth to add context after you had kind of already gotten to maybe not like the full big like climax, but you definitely gotten that ball rolling already. So I thought the storytelling technique was really interesting, and like I was saying, it felt like an interesting way to take a mob story and tell it in a unique and interesting way when we've all seen tons of mob stories told in different ways in across movies and TV shows. It's a very, very common theme, but this was telling it in a different way, which I thought was really, really cool.
Stratagem. So this was a really creative, interesting film. I thought you guys really used your resources creatively, given what you had to work with, and the storyline was a lot to take on. And so I thought you really worked with it creatively with the different filters and the nonlinear way that you told the story, which I really liked and actually didn't expect. It was definitely an element of surprise for me in this, which I really appreciated. And the fact that you use different visuals to kind of make it interesting because of the limited resources. So when there was a point with the bomb in the house, and I think that's when we saw the screen with like the really interesting lens breaking everything up. And then when they were leaving and you hear the bomb exploding, but you don't see it. So there was definitely some creative, licenses being taken, and I appreciated that. So the things that were frustrating for me was that I couldn't really hear the words that were being spoken. And there were some moments where I felt like the camera should have been focused more on somebody's face in a close-up. For instance, when the lead actor was killing the people in the house and he leaned down and he spoke to one of the guys. To me, when he was telling his motivation for doing it, was a really pivotal moment, and I really couldn't see the expressions on their faces, especially the lead. I wanted to see the pain and the struggle, and I just was having trouble really feeling for these people because of the footage. But other than that, I really felt like the way you told the story was interesting, and yeah, like everybody put a lot into this, and I appreciate that, and I wish you guys the best of luck.
This movie was really hard to hear. I had to put on the captioning to be able to actually figure out what was going on. And it was auto-generated, so I'm not sure if it was always right. The score really overpowered what the characters were saying. But the story is there. It's really good. It's really intense. It follows the Blake Snyder beat sheet formula very, very well, where it has a strong opening image and to the strong end where there's that fun and games. You're on the edge of your seat. You know exactly what's going on. You're following these characters. It's broken up. The intense moments are broken up with humor, such as like the tea party moment where it's stupid, but it breaks up to humor. And there's things like that throughout the whole film. So the story really makes this go up. It would just be nicer if you could hear it a little better.